Like, you don't deny that they exist.
We didn't deny that they exist.
You're like, you're not supposed to look at them because they're...
No, I didn't say that.
exist kasi atheist ka din.
Atheist. So, are you a Filipino? Because Duterte is gonna kill you. I hear. I read in this one.
Yeah, very reputable.
My parents
Yeah,
are...
this one reputable news source. Here's a link for you.
Yeah,
read it. Like,
he's gonna...
Are you a Filipino?
I am a Filipino. And there's a number on my head.
Yeah,
I don't know what
Duterte's
number... Yeah, Duterte's gonna kill me.
I'm Filipino.
I'm a Filipino citizen as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but so is that true? Is that news real? Okay.
If he ever gets elected, it might well be. But
And
no, it's
okay, I don't think he's gonna win.
He's not running. Oh, he did say.
No, he did say that he
the
would kill the person who would make him run.
Yeah, like I want to kill the person who even suggested that I run. So that's one down. Yeah. It's just a few more million to go.
He's such a cartoon, isn't he? I mean,
he's a cartoon.
No. This is not my opinion. That was in quotation marks. I heard someone else say that he's such a funny cartoon that should be made fun of. Not my opinion, because
and yet, if you talk to your average Davaoeño, they will defend him with rather impassioned words.
They will kill you too.
What?
Or no? Okay, the fans are probably not as violent as their idol.
Yeah, I think most people would prefer someone else do the violence that they're envisioning because they don't want to get their hands dirty. So they want someone like.
I do wonder though. Does that leave you? Does that mean that you are not culpable if you're openly endorsing a person that you know is going around and doing all of these extrajudicial killings? Are you really? I mean, you're endorsing murder.
But yeah, when you put him in office and you know what he's done.
You put him in office. You defend
allegedly
him.
But it's murder.
No, but that's the thing. Like the justifications I've heard, and I hope I'm not strawmanning here, is he only puts away the really bad guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he's killing for a cause, for a good cause.
Right.
He's only killing criminals, alleged criminals, but criminals nonetheless.
So yeah, that's why he's getting a lot of people on his side.
Yeah.
Because these are the bad guys. These are not you. I'm not killing you. Because of course, when you put a drug pusher and then the average Davaoeño, they'd say that's not me. I'm never going to be the victim, right? I'm never going to be suspected of being a drug pusher, so I'm never going to die. But how do you know he was an actual drug pusher?
Yeah, and somebody messaged me after that we published that newsy article about killing all Filipinos on our site that this was not far from the truth. Like what we wrote, not us. I mean, someone else, someone that that's not even a friend.
Allegedly
of ours.
wrote, yeah.
Like I don't know how that got on the site.
Yeah, alleged site.
Yeah, somebody.
It's not even a real site.
What is it? Our site? It's not our site.
I don't know.
Okay, like I heard that it's not far from the
wearing
truth.
the goddamn shirt.
What is this?
What shirt
What is this? Anyway, he has death squads.
Yeah.
Like and several years ago, like. People have been trying to file cases against him, human rights violations, but for one reason or the other, they didn't push through.
Because they got threatened by a death squad?
I don't know. Why would they be afraid of death squads? But
they're good people, so why would they be afraid? They have nothing to be afraid of if you're a good person.
If you're a good person, you have nothing to be afraid of.
But it's only the criminals. It's that line of logic that I keep hearing. It's the usual, along with the people who are, like, say, they're for the death penalty. I mean, they look at... they look at the Philippines as it is now, and they look at the problems with law and order, or with basic corruption, and they feel that, well, it seems it's like two stages. One, they're like, yeah, I'm for the death penalty because there are horrible people out there, and we need to stop like having our taxpayer, the usual old arguments for the death penalty.
Yeah.
Like I don't want my tax money going to supporting people in prison, and they're crowded anyway, so just kill them.
Wow.
And then you move to a tacit, I don't know if it's an outright, but it's a tacit endorsement of a dictatorship, or at least elements of a dictatorship. Because when you say that you are for killing people without this long, drawn-out, awkward, flawed due process, then you are endorsing one of the elements of a dictatorship, which is they're going to get something done very, very efficiently, but then there's no oversight.
Okay, so that escalated quickly. Stuff are like everything's bad right now. Corruption in the government. Let's get let's go for dictatorship. Like it's
I'm not
one
sure
of those.
if it's let's go for dictatorship, but it is you see it in the nostalgia.
Yeah, that's
or
what
the
I was
historical
gonna.
revisionism that
Yeah.
people seem to like to engage in with regards to martial law,
Hmm.
with regards to talking about say Bongbong Marcos or Amy Marcos, the new cleaner Marcoses,
Yeah.
because they have achievements, they've done nice things, and look at Bongbong Marcos. If you look at the slate of the stuff that he approves of, it's actually pretty much
Quite
everything.
progressive too.
It's very
isn't it?
progressive.
Yeah.
It's almost everything the FF. Like I'm not scared of the church now.
Yeah.
And,
Pro RH.
Pro RH,
Yeah.
and yet a lot of our RH allies and I myself would not shake his hand.
You wouldn't
Because
shake
of
his hand.
no,
Okay.
my main issue, apart from all the other things, is just the fact that he refuses to acknowledge that his father did anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's something as basic as that. He won't. It's not even a yes. My dad did some bad things, but
Yeah.
now I'm trying to help things out. No, it's my dad was fine. There were no human rights abuses during my
Not
father's
just
time.
that. He was a hero.
He was a hero.
Like-
he was a hero, and he deserves to be buried
There you go.
as a hero.
Yeah, and there are a lot of senators like Chis Escudero.
Chis Escudero now is saying like, yeah, let's have him in the libingan ng mga bayani. I went to Marcos's grave in Batak when I was visiting Ilocos Norte, and then I went. There's a museum very nearby there, and it's a big tarp, and it's historical revisionism party time. It's
Oh wow.
There were no human rights abuses during Marcos's time. Marcos was a man of peace. He made sure that like the country was super peaceful under his
Yeah.
time. You should see. I have some.
He won
pictures,
the
actually.
Nobel
It's
Peace
big.
Prize actually.
I don't
He
go that
also won
far.
the Nobel Peace Prize.
But it is something
of
as
the year.
basic as they refuse to acknowledge that anything bad happened during the Marcos regime.
Okay.
And now, the farther away that we're getting from the Marcos regime, at
Yeah.
what are we at 20 years after martial law plus now, it becomes easier and easier to say, to kind of idealize it, to kind of say it wasn't so bad and it's got to be better than this.
Yeah, it's the same grass is greener, age is goldener fallacy. You know, people think that the age we live in is shit and everything before must have been better.
I've been doing a lot of readings about countries that dealt with dictatorships and then they overthrew them, but then later on there's a real phenomenon of a nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
Because the farther away it gets, it's easy to kind of pine for it because you don't have to deal with it. It's not there now.
But the people who are pining for it are the people who weren't there.
Yeah, I think it goes.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think no. There are people who were there but who were better off while others were suffering. So there are people who are, of course, trying to rewrite. But I think it goes in the stage. Like the people when it started off martial law, of course, you see the improvements. Like things were happening faster, right?
Right.
What Duterte is doing now is
You're
the
seeing-
beginning of the beginning stage of martial law. So people
Right.
were supporting the fact that
Right.
the criminals are hiding.
Yeah.
And
Davao is a
and-
clean, functional,
Yes.
prosperous
and then
city.
and then afterwards you start seeing the problems like, hey, my friends are disappearing, they didn't do anything wrong, and then so martial law disappeared, Marcos was gone, and then people forgot, and then a new generation was born who didn't experience that, saw the glory days, saw the beginning of
The
martial
early
law.
days.
The early days, right? And they're seeing that now in Duterte.
Right.
So
There's
here is a person in their eyes who is making things happen, like forget due process. Due process is taking too long a time. Let's
Yeah.
go start killing people. And these are the bad guys. So I see the improvement until you start seeing
Yeah.
your friends disappear or when you
Until
disappear.
it happens in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until it happens to you.
To
Until
people you
you're the
know.
one who's under threat.
Yeah,
yeah.
So the story being rewritten right now by the people who are pro Marcos is that Marcos never killed any good guys. It was only the bad guys who died, right?
Wow.
And that's the story being told right now about Duterte.
But I find much more problematic the people who try to say things like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
some
They
bad stuff
trivialize-
happened.
They trivialize
But you know
all
what?
of the abuses, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
It's not that bad.
We
It
got
was
through
worth
it.
it.
There
right?
were some bad parts, but compared to today, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's worth a shot. Like there's an excellent article by Randy David, which I'm with the link
Do
is
the
here.
link. Wow, that's awesome.
Oh,
It's
it's a
fun,
rainbow
right?
Why
link.
do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
it works.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I've never done it
It's
before.
magic, yeah.
Yeah, where he does talk about a number of the early achievements of the Marcos regime, and then it compares it to what happened as time went on. And it also shows the state of the country when Marcos took over and why people had a sense of almost relief when he did take over, because suddenly all of these things that were calcified, that were stuck, like it was all forward progress. Suddenly, he would finish all of these economic zones. He would get rid of some of these corrupt officials, and he had a vision, and it was great. But as with any glorious, brave new world, in any time in history, you have a one strong man or authoritarian rule. It is great, and then it arcs, and then it gets shit. Unless that authoritarian regime then transitions to a more democratic society, like, say, what South Korea did. Okay, fine. Maybe the dictator guy was okay, but what happens when he's getting old and he's sick, and then his wife starts to take over, or his son? And how do you know that that son is going to be any good? How do you know that the wife is not going to be crazy and buy thousands of shoes, and then like bury people under a musical house or whatever?
Allegedly.
I think it's not fair to compare like the kind of progress that we got during Marcos' glory days, the good times, to what Pinoy is doing now, or any recent president.
I would say even the alleged good times, because
even the alleged good times.
You can say that there are a number of achievements, but if you look at the overall data, like it's actually
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But there was a lot of money going around in the Philippines. Like we were a force to be reckoned with in Asia. Like we were on the way up. Like countries all over were looking to us. And we had so much promise. He had so much money.
He started at a higher point.
He inherited a good economy to work with,
Even then, like, I feel that is we are a victim of the fact that most of our modern history instruction in school ends around World War II. Because, maybe the teacher didn't quite finish on time. And there's some modern history part, but no, we'll just finish it because the sem's over. We don't seem to place Marcos's regime in the wider context of the Cold War at the time. Like, in fact, I would wager that a lot of Filipinos aren't even sure who fought the Cold War. But here we are. We were one of the United States' puppet regimes. Marcos was a dictator propped up by the United States so that we could become a capitalist bulwark against the Soviet Union. The Philippines made a great base for launching expeditions out into Vietnam, and then also we're on China's doorstep. We're in the vicinity of Russia. All of this money. If you look at our grant, like I love it when pro-Marcos people like, oh, look at our military, it was so great back then. Those are all donations by the U.S. And they were giving us all of that stuff because they knew that the great communist Reds were like right there, either just to the north of us or in our own backyard. So he
had all of this support.
He had unequivocal U.S. support, although it started to peter out later on. But as the Cold War got warm, as the Cold War petered out,
so to speak. Okay, so to speak. So there, you have a president who had everything going for him. Of course, he'll do his job. Of course, he'll also do something good, because if it was all terror, then he'll have the entire country against him, and he doesn't want that. He wants to stay in power. So he has to convince at least a significant portion of the population, and he did this through doing his job.
It's
through doing what he was supposed to do in the first place.
It's the classic, and I hate to bring the Hitler arguments into this, right? But
you're going there?
Okay. No. The early days of the Hitler regime, actually on up until the end. What a lot of people don't realize is that a large portion of Germany's economy was not actually geared towards the creation of a military machine. It was still geared to almost a peacetime economy, because they were still pumping out luxuries. And they needed to make sure that this fascist regime needed to make sure that at least there was some semblance of efficiency and pleasure in the lives of their average citizens. So even in supposedly the worst regime that you can imagine, like the Nazi fascist regime, there were good things. You had employment, you had luxuries that were coming in. The Volkswagen was developed around that time. Hitler put a lot of thought into the domestic happiness of his people.
That's how you get them on your side, and then you do this shit in the background.
And it's you think of places like North Korea. Like, let's say if they ever improve on their situation and they get a better leader and a better government, I bet there would still be people who would look back to the glory days.
I remember during Kim Jong-il when it wasn't so bad. Only 4 out of 5 of us were starving.
It's people will be irrational in whatever context, and the golden age fallacy will be there because society is imperfect.
A lot of people, I can see the temptation for maybe I'll just hand off all of my problems and all my governance to somebody else, so I can blame somebody else. So it's not my fault for not going out there and participating in this democracy. It's theirs.
Yeah, and this democracy, this democratic government isn't working for me.
Yeah.
So I'll outsource it now to someone else, like this strongman, this Duterte or whoever, who's gonna answer my problems for me. And if he fails,
Marcos,
it's his fault. It's not my fault. So that's kind of the mentality there. Activist-related violence that happened recently was when Secretary Abad was
the budget secretary.
allegedly attacked by
That's right. He was a guest speaker at an event in UP, and then as he exited
department,
as he exited the venue, there were a number of people from what was the group?
I don't know. Alleged groups.
Alleged
Yeah. There were student groups.
Threw stuff
there.
at him.
Was it a violent type of throwing or more of a celebratory?
Well, that's the thing. There is a video.
toss?
It's hard to
Is it confetti or rice?
No, it was the kind of coins that you give it for a blessing of a new.
Was it
that
like that?
Okay, that
Was
could
it
hurt.
like
You
No,
know,
there's people are debating as to what exactly they were throwing. I believe that the students are saying it was paper, but the other camp is saying it was coins.
Yeah.
They're also Abad's camp is also claiming that he was grabbed by the collar.
Okay.
Of some sort.
I mean,
and,
regardless, if it's coins or paper, like stuff was being thrown at him
while they were shouting at
and
him.
I mean, you could throw paper in such a way that it would hurt. You know,
There's a link to the video here.
It is.
Wow, I'm addicted to doing this now.
let Frank do it next time.
Okay.
I have no idea where.
There's a video.
Think of a link. Yeah. So anyway, do you think that's wrong? Are people justified? Like, I mean, the theme here is of course like vigilante justice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Abad is not yet proven to be guilty of corruption, plunder, or graft and corruption.
Even if he was.
Even if he were guilty,
do you start throwing
like
things at people
there's
who
an
are guilty?
appropriate punishment according to the law for that, which is going to jail and
It's
all of the punishments.
I think people are just
frustrated.
they have this thing in their head, like when a person is guilty, or even in their mind, just in their own mind, that they are guilty, suddenly their rights disappear. Like, I can suddenly throw things at you, or this mayor can slap you in the face.
Yeah.
Or I remember that hidden call thing where the policeman, or I think it was a policeman, just threw water in his face in the middle of a hearing.
Yeah.
Right? So people just are free to do anything, and go to the extreme side where Duterte is just shooting them in the head, or the safer side where they're pelting them with paper. People still have rights, right? And as much as you hate a person, you don't go hitting them, slapping them, or assaulting them in any way.
That being said, like I do sympathize with where the students were
That's
coming
our
from
line.
because we have been not even that. Like we've been there. Like I remember being in Congress during the RH debates. And all of the bullshit that was thrown our way by these arrogant, overbearing anti-RH politicians, like they would mock you, they'd laugh at you, and they would trample over due process. There were all these rules that they would just like shit all over.
When I heard Soto talk, like this guy,
and you can't. Everything in you wants to make you just stand up and tell him to just shut the fuck up, like stop lying.
Yeah.
Or in many cases, stop laughing at these women. Like, but you're not allowed to because you're in that venue. In that case, like either Senate or Congress, and you're supposed to be polite.
Yeah.
And yes, that is when you realize how much all of these institutions are built to protect people in privilege like that.
Yeah.
When a normal human response, it's to curtail the normal human response. I felt.
Yeah.
Like with being there, thankfully we managed to curtail our normal human responses, but it was very frustrating and painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're there, and there are these people in power who are doing patently wrong things, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say? You wish you could have hit him?
If I was there, like I don't know, I wasn't there, but if I was, I wouldn't be surprised at myself if I threw something at him, because I've felt that temptation with other.
Are you talking about Abad or Soto?
Abad or Soto, or
so you'd been the side of the students who are just pelting them with stuff.
Honestly, I'm not.
You're not the throwing type.
No,
Or you might punching, kicking type.
No, well, no, but then
slapping the
like
cell phone in the face
the only
type.
thing that stopped, the only thing that would stop me, and that did stop me before, was the understanding that, for the broader cause, it's just not productive.
Yeah.
Like it'll be latched on by media or whatever, and then the same people who might support your cause would then say, "Oh, why did you resort to violence?"
Yeah.
And there is
When you resort to violence, you
Suddenly
lose the
you
argument.
lose.
You
Yeah.
lose the logical argument. Like
the high ground, the fact that you're even talking, like all of everything you said, like goes out the window when you start using violence.
But the
Like,
reason
why are
for
you
that
even
violence is
Yeah.
that feeling of impotence.
Definitely.
that all these
Definitely.
other
That we can sympathize and empathize with. And I think another thing that's counterproductive is the response of the university calling these students enemies of the university. I think that's wrong.
way to support your students.
That's wrong as well. I mean,
but then,
education is there's room for education here. There's room for nuance, and calling these students who are hurt, who are impatient, who are
who are
they don't know what to do anymore. The current system isn't working the way that they want to. It's very
no, not the way that they want to. The way that
It's supposed
society
to.
has
yeah.
educated them to say that it
They're
should
owed
work.
that. I mean,
They
we
are
are
owed
we
that.
are all
They're
owed
owed
the
that.
students, like for the most part, are the university. Like these children, like regardless of whatever age they are, students are the university.
But that always
and
speaks
they
towards
are-
the tension with the UP system itself, right? You have one of the most brilliantly activist, politically aware institutions in the Philippines, but then the people who are funding it are those in power. So every time that they might do something that those in power would disagree with, those in power could just cut their funding again and again and again.
Yeah. So
but
it's
as far as freedom goes, I think I like that UP is free a lot of in like comparatively at least, right? So they have so much freedom. It would really go a long way that they don't abuse that freedom. Like you have more freedom of speech than any other university I know.
Yeah.
Don't give that up by throwing things at people.
Do you agree then with the university's response?
Oh no.
okay.
No, just
There's room for nuance and sensitivity there. And as with all things like this, as with what Carlos did, it's something that we can sympathize with, but it's something that we would not really recommend. But we do understand where the students are coming from, but we wouldn't tell people to go to Abad and slap him on the face or throw stuff at him
And
or
even
kill
if
him
they did that,
or kill him.
oh
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Or,
I mean,
that brings
is
back to
the violence okay as long as Abad does not die?
yeah, is there a
Like, where does
is
it-
there a
yeah.
That's okay?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
is there
Like,
do Batman
torture-
do
yeah.
Batman rules apply? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to maul him
Not
and
using
he's
a
going
gun.
to be in a hospital for
Yeah.
8 months, but I didn't kill him.
Okay.
that's one of the worst arguments I've heard about like
Violence.
Duterte is like he's
Violence
Batman.
is
He's not
violence.
Batman. Batman doesn't kill. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Violence is violence. I mean, if it's against an alleged criminal, if it's against alleged
criminal.
corrupt criminal or corrupt politician, I think human rights needs to be respected in either case.
Yeah.
Even though that person doesn't respect. their own
Yeah.
human
Assholes have rights, right? I mean, regardless of how much you hate them,
Yeah.
assholes have rights.
And Marcos is a monster.
Yes.
Okay, this is one of the longest podcasts that we've ever done. We hope that you like it. If you don't, let us know in the comments. We will.
We
of
enable
course-
comments on the YouTube page.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
enabled. You can comment as well if you
Okay.
want.
There will be a meetup this weekend. Details are to follow,
And we will be
or they will be
in,
up right now. Yeah.
in PUP. If you're a PUP student, there's a secular students group there. Do support them.
This Saturday we'll be
Yes,
there.
this Saturday we will be there.
What time to what
and
time?
next week
Do you know what time it is on Saturday?
it's a limited entrance thing.
Yeah.
For
So you
PUP
you might
students.
not actually
So
be.
don't go.
You might not actually be able
Maybe
to
we
go
can take
there.
videos. I don't know. We will have a podcast on feminism and
Next
Feminism next week.
women's rights issues, everything that's been
Stay
going
tuned.
on.
Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.